Hey, everybody. What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Give you guys a chance to get in. I see there were a few of you already waiting. That is exciting. Stream is looking good. Connection is excellent. That is always good news. I am excited. Welcome. When you get here, when you get in, when you get comfy, let me know. Let me know where you are chiming in from. I am excited for today's live coaching session. Today, my loves, is my jam. So welcome. Let me know that you are here. Let me know what you are, who you are, where you are tuning in from. I see Helen is here. Welcome, Helen. I'm glad that this is the right timing for you. Come on in. Hey, everybody. Let me get all my stuff together while you guys come on in, take a seat, take a look around. All right, welcome. I cannot say welcome to the CPTV studios today. Let me know if you can hear me okay. It looks like you can. According to audio and stream, it looks like you are okay. But I want to make sure if you aren't, let me know. Let me know in the chat. I am not in the CPTV studios today. I am actually streaming on the road. I am in sunny Ocean City, Maryland. So I am tuning in today from Ocean City, Maryland. Kendra, what's up? Charlotte, North Carolina, of course. What's up, Charlotte? All right, Eunice, Spain, what's up? How are you this week? Teresa, how are you? It's beautiful here. I'm in Ocean City. First time in Ocean City. It is actually an amazing place. I am excited. I'm here because, as you guys know, I am a dance mom. I'm a dance mom. Yes, I am. If you didn't know, I'm a dance mom. My 17-year-old, it is so crazy that I am saying 17-year-old, right? I can't even believe it. 17-year-old Nia is a competitive dancer. And it is National Dance Competition this week, y'all. All week long, we are in Ocean City, Maryland. She is competing her butt off at nationals. She made it to nationals, all of her dances, and we are here all week. And I was like, you know what? I'm still going live, even though we are traveling. That is the beauty of entrepreneurship. So welcome, everybody. Come on in. I'm excited to get started with you. And welcome to CPTV. If you are new here and this is your first time, welcome. I am CP, Cheryl, if you don't know, Cheryl Perez, but everybody calls me CP and you are welcome to as well. If you are a frequent CPTVer, welcome back. This is the place for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs who want to turn their passions into businesses and those businesses into 6- and 7-figure empires. You guys know what the deal is. And today we are talking about one of my favorite things of all time, and that is building business processes inside of your organizations so that you can get to that next level of entrepreneurial freedom. Because when you are at this point in your entrepreneurial journey, you are at what I consider to be stage 2 in your business journey. And I'm not even joking. Sometimes people are kind of like at this point and you're still kind of at stage 1B. So I'm not going to like fault you for that. And I say stage 1B because you may have a few loose ends that you need to tie up from stage 1, which is kind of like setting up your foundation and setting up all your basics and getting everything going, which we have been talking about consistently over the last few weeks in our coaching sessions. But today we are going to be focusing on step 4, kind of in that 6 steps to getting your business foundation created and to really being able to move on in that entrepreneurial journey. And so I want to talk to you guys about kind of the basic business processes. And I'm going to kind of get a little deeper than I've ever gone before, because this is my jam. All right. This is what I do. This is the way that CP's brain works. As you guys know, if you like CPTV and you watch CPTV, my brain works literally in step-by-step fashion. As you know, if you are a student or a member of SUA, everything that I teach, everything that I do, even the way that I talk is in step-by-step fashion. And that is technically how business processes work. I love teaching entrepreneurs how to begin to think that way, because once you systematize and create processes in your business, everything becomes easier. You maximize your profits and you prepare yourself to be able to delegate and automate. And that, my loves, is when you cross over into that multiple 6-figure realm. And honestly, that is when you can really truly begin to build your team. And when you start adding to your team, you are on the path to 7-figure freedom. Trust me. So you cannot build your team. You cannot hire people until you have built those processes. And that is what we are talking about today. And I want to get deep into what the basic processes are. Now, I say basic because honestly, there will probably be hundreds, possibly even thousands of processes that you will potentially create in your business. I mean, you can really over process your business. I have been guilty of doing that in my business. And you can really create too many just because of the way that my brain works. I kind of do it automatically. And actually my consulting practice, the consulting side of my business, that is what I do. That's all I do. I help organizations create processes. That is what I do. I work with organizations that want to build their human resource processes, usually build their human resource departments. I will create their entire human resource processes from start to finish, everything from recruiting and their job analysis, what their organizational chart should look like, just everything about building their teams. And then I will also help them really systematize their entire organizations from top to bottom, because you can't really get to the human resource stuff until you've systematized the majority of your organization. And that is what I want to talk to you guys about today. I have gotten so many questions from you guys about specific processes, even if you didn't really realize you were asking me about processes. So I want to talk about those. And I got a few that I've received in advance, but I really want to dedicate today to those of you who have taken the time to tune in, because I know that you have been waiting for this. When I posted this and I sent out the email in the CP newsletter and as a CP insider, and my DMs, like they started blowing up. People were like, I couldn't wait for this. This is what I've been waiting for. I got questions. So I really want to make sure that I am available to you guys for that. So I want to kind of get started. I am excited. I see you guys talking. What's going on in the chat over here? I see you all over here talking. What's going on? I see. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kendra. Oh, you're in Orlando. All right, Kendra. You know what? I think I might be in your neck of the woods in a couple weeks. I'm going to be in Florida. I'm pretty sure. So I'm probably going to take off next week because it's a holiday. So I'm not going to probably be doing CPTV live. But I heard you guys last week. You wanted to do a live coaching session around marketing, and I'm keeping my word. I said I was going to do it. It's not going to be next week because it's the holiday, and I'm going to take that off. But the following week, I promise you I'm going to do a live. I'm going to focus around marketing, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be streaming live from Florida. So I won't be in Orlando though, but I will be in Florida. So I want to go ahead and get started. So let's talk about what I will say are the basic business processes that you have got to get set up in your business, especially when you are a new entrepreneur. And I say this because The most critical time to do it and the best time to do it is when you are first getting started, right? It's the best time. But if you haven't already done it, you can do it at any point. You really can do it at any point. If you haven't already done it, I would tell you to start now, because the sooner you do it, the better, the easier it is. It's more difficult to set them up and to begin to document them and to begin to think them through the further down the line that you get in your entrepreneurial journey and in your business journey. It gets more difficult because you're already in the thick of your business and it's more difficult to actually document them. But I want to start in the very beginning. And that's why it's a part of my startup advice in my first 6 steps. I say, set up your processes. But I do work with a lot of entrepreneurs who have been in business, who've been making money, they've been doing the damn thing, but it's hard for them to cross over really into that 6-figure mark. They can't seem to just nudge over it because they don't have the processes in place. So some of you may be feeling what I'm talking about, right? You just can't seem to kind of cross over. It just seems like, I just cannot get it together. And it's probably because your processes aren't set up well, right? It's just kind of all over the place. So I want to start talking with what those basic processes are. And you guys have heard me say this before, but I want to reiterate what they are, okay? What they are. The first and most important process, all right? And I shouldn't say most important because I feel like they're all equally important. But this one is one that a lot of people skip. And you really do have to make sure that you have it set up. And I want to spend a little bit of time here. And that is your money in process, all right? Your money in process. What do I mean when I say your money in process? I mean the way that you plan to get your money. It's self-explanatory. The way that you plan to accept payment for your products and or services. You have got to figure out how you're going to do that. Do not wait until you already have somebody lined up to say yes. Don't wait until that person says, all right, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to buy from you. So how do I pay you? You do not want your first customer or your first 10 customers or your first 15 customers to ask you how they are going to pay you. Because if they have to ask, they're already frustrated, guaranteed. You want to make sure that you can very easily step them through your sales process to that money in process, because that is going to ensure that you ultimately will get that money. And that's why it's one of the first processes that you have to think through. Okay. And so when I say your money in processes, I mean, how are you going to collect your money? So here's some things that I really want you to think about, because it's not as easy as saying, oh, well, CP, they can just cash at me. Okay. That's one way to think about it. But let me break this down for you and just kind of professionalize it. I'm about to keep it real. Asher is not with me today because I told y'all I'm in Ocean City and I'm not in the studio and he don't travel well. But that's not okay. That's not cool. You don't want people to cash app you because professionals are just not going to do that, right? People are going to feel weary of that, especially if you are in a B2B field. If you are selling to other businesses, they're just not going to cash app you. I, as a business owner, if you are a vendor for me, if I'm buying services from you or products from you as a business, I can't cash app you. I cannot cash app you. I can't track that. My bookkeeper can't track that. I cannot get a tax write-off that way. I can't cash app you. So we're going to have a problem if you tell me that I need to cash app you. So there are some critical ways for you to set up your money in processes. And here are some ideas for you. And these are some basic things that I want you to make sure that you set up as an entrepreneur when you're considering money in. All right. The first way that you can accept money into your organization is by invoicing. All right. Now, invoicing is a money in process that I want you to consider, especially if what you are selling is generally higher ticket. So if it is a higher ticket priced service, like a consulting service, a lot of consultants will invoice, especially if it is to another business, a B2B type of transaction. So for instance, for me, I do a lot of invoicing in my consulting practice. And the reason why I invoice is because my average consulting bill or consulting contract is around $20,000. So I can't really ask another business to just cash at me 20 grand, right? I wouldn't probably get that contract. So I will typically invoice them. Now, the way that I invoice them, the amounts that I invoice them is just based upon their contract. I have various payment options for my clients. Generally, it depends upon how long the contract is. If it's a 3-month contract, if it's a 5-month contract, if it's a 6-month contract, if it's a 12-month contract, that determines how frequently they pay me and what each amount of that invoice is. But I do invoice them. Okay, that is an option for me. And I will invoice them through my consulting practices system. All right. I have 2 systems, and I'm going to talk about what those are, because these are definitely systems that I think can be very beneficial for you, especially if you are a consultant or a coach. And one of them I've talked to all of you about. So if you are a service-based business, if you will be invoicing clients for services, or if you are a consultant, or if you are a coach and you have a higher ticketed item, and you are kind of deciding, I think invoicing is going to be the best way. Now, invoicing typically means that you're going to send them an invoice and you are going to allow them to pay you either net 7, net 15, or net 30. That means they have 7 days to pay you, 14 days to pay you, or 30 days to pay you after they've received their invoice. Now, I don't do net 30. I just don't do it. I don't think it takes anybody 30 days to process my invoice. I will generally, however, allow my clients up to 14 days to pay me. So if their due date in their contract is the 1st of the month, which is typically what I do, it's the 1st of the month or the 5th of the month. Those are the only ones that I allow. Or depending upon when they sign their contract effective date, it could be the 15th of the month. But I will generally send them their invoice 14 days in advance, with their due date being whatever that due date is. So that's a net 14, all right? Maximum is net 14. Sometimes every now and again, I will do a net 7. So they'll get their invoice 7 days in advance. And I use 2 different systems. It just depends upon, the type of contract that they have. And the only reason why I use 2 different systems is because way back in the day, I did not use my first system that I'm getting ready to share with you. I didn't use it because it wasn't the system that I used for consulting. Now I use it. I incorporated it into my consulting practice maybe about 3 years ago. It is my CRM. It is my note taker. It is my automation. It controls several of the processes that I'm going to talk to you about today. And I use it specifically for consulting and for coaching. And that we're going to also put the link to it in the chat today, because you guys have been obviously communicating with Rico today. So he is going to put the link in there for you, and that is Dubsado. I get the question all the time. Actually, I have that question on my list. What is my preferred CRM system? I have multiple CRM systems that I use in my business, and I have multiple because I have various product types that I serve, right? I have a consulting piece or practice. I do a coaching piece. I have a coaching business, and I also do digital products through online courses and memberships, right? I use different CRMs for the different types of products. For my coaching and consulting practice, I use Dubsado. Dubsado invoices my coaching and consulting clients. It invoices them automatically. It sends out the reminders. It ties to the contracts. It ties to my proposals. It's tied to my sales process, my onboarding process. It is amazing. All right. That is my preferred system right now. Okay. I also use QuickBooks, and you guys have heard me talk about QuickBooks before. It is that financial software that I say you should link up immediately when you're setting up your financial structure. It also has the ability to invoice, okay? And it will invoice for you. And I still have a handful of consulting clients that I invoice through QuickBooks. And the only reason why I do is because they are old school consulting clients. They have been with me for years, and I had them before I had Dubsado. But Dubsado and QuickBooks actually talk to each other. So they link. Anything that I have in Dubsado actually feeds into QuickBooks, because that is also my financial software anyway. All right. And QuickBooks sends out my invoices. It will automatically send out my reminders. It does the same thing. It just doesn't connect to my proposals and the onboarding process and the sales process in the same way. So I have to manually kind of do that with those clients over in Dubsado. And because they're just so used to receiving my invoices in QuickBooks, I just, haven't changed it for them, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They pay on time. And when they pay on time, I don't want to mess it up. But invoicing between those two systems are my preferred method. Now, invoicing comes with its cons, because sometimes you got to chase people down for your money, bottom line, because you're invoicing and they got to pay you. But that is a legit professional way for your money in. Now, I also have credit cards. I take credit cards. I take ACH debits. QuickBooks allowing me to do that, as well as Dubsado. And I also take PayPal money in. All right. So that means that you have to set up a Stripe account. I use Stripe. There's also other ones. I have compared, the pricing and what they cost and the processing fees. Some people say, I don't want to do Stripe. I don't want to take credit cards because I have to pay a fee. Let me address this right now. I'm taking a deep breath because I get annoyed when I hear that. It costs money to make money, y'all. Done. It costs money to make money, y'all. And you are literally eliminating your ability to attract the majority of clients and customers out there when you decide that you don't want to take credit cards or debit cards. And I want to be very, very specific with you, okay? Because I've got some very startling statistics that I really want to share, all right? And these are very, very recent, okay? In 2020, only 19% of consumers out there will pay for services and products using cash. Only 19%. That means 81% of everybody who buys stuff with credit and debit cards. So if you don't accept them, you are eliminating 81% of the customers out there. Okay? 81%. Also, in 2018, a survey found that people who earned $100,000 or more preferred credit cards, while people who earned less than $100,000 preferred debit cards. Did you hear me say any of those people prefer cash? Did you hear that? Any of those people, right? So who is your ICA? How much are your products and services? Who are you targeting? Because all of those people prefer credit or debit cards, which means you need to have a Stripe or a Square. You need to be set up to accept those forms of payment in your money in process, okay? And this is very, very critical, okay? Very, very critical. In 2021, more than half of all purchases with cash were under $10, okay? More than half. While the average cash purchase over $112 were made with credit cards. That means that people spend 83% more when they can use a credit card or a debit card in that purchase process. That is a cash flow situation, people. That is a cash flow situation. If you require people to tap into their bank account, they are going to give you less money. Bottom line. Bottom line. You know what I'm talking about. That's why you've got processing systems like Affirm and Pay Now, Pay Later, and Break Things Up and payments popping up all over the place because people don't have the cash flow available to them. And that is what a credit card allows people to do. So money in, you really do need to make sure that as a part of your process, you've got Stripe set up and that you have PayPal ability set up as well, because people need to be able to utilize those two in your money in processes. Question? Let me see. I got a note here. I got some questions coming in. Let me make sure I'm taking a look. All right, let's see. Kendra, how do I feel about using Square for accepting payments? I think it's great. I like Square. I chose Stripe at the time because I think that Square, maybe at the moment where I made the decision, was charging a little bit more. And you really want to do the investigating because each of them charge different amounts. Some of them are like 2.9% plus 50 cents per transaction. Some of them are 3.2%, 3.9% plus a certain amount per transaction. So you just want to do a little bit of investigating. And I really haven't looked into the specifics of each of those services in the last like probably 4 or 5 years. So, but I would beg to tell you that most of them are very, very, very similar, very similar. And now all the systems that I'm talking about integrate with all of them: Square, Stripe, PayPal, all of them. And you want your system to integrate with them so that when someone's using them, they can automatically go through your system and use a credit card or a debit card if they prefer. So I like Square, I like Stripe, I like PayPal, I have them all. And the reason why I have them all is because I want people to have the ease of being able to choose how they want to pay me. And I also have ACH set up where people can put in their bank account if they want to. And that's something that you can do through QuickBooks and through Dubsado if your money in process is invoicing as well. But the point is, I love it, Kendra, because that means that you are thinking about how you're going to accept payment. And that's what I'm saying when I say set up your money in process. You've got to think through how you're going to accept that payment. And as long as you are ready to do that, you're good to go. The problem is when nobody's thought about it and then they're all of a sudden, I don't know. I'm going to give you a perfect example. And this is a story, and I hope ain't nobody from my family watching because I'm about to let y'all in on some personal business. So we're in the process of planning a family reunion. Okay, family reunion. So we're planning a family reunion, and my cousin's son makes t-shirts. He had like an awesome t-shirt business, and it's this t-shirt business. So we're talking about making our family reunion t-shirts. And of course, she's like, and we have a committee, right? We got a whole committee. And she's like, well, my son can make the t-shirts. And we're like, okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to support our family. And so, of course, my other cousin was like, okay, perfect. So when we register, because of course, I'm like, we got to make the registration process easy. We're going to use Eventbrite. It makes it really easy. Done. People put in their information. We'll be able to pull the data. We can register people. It's done. And, you know, I said, how does he want us to go ahead, and does he want us to redirect them to his website for them to be able to make their t-shirt purchases and they can put their information? Every single person on our committee was like, yeah, we just pick our sizes and put our credit cards in. She was like, oh, hold on, let me ask him. So she texted him and he was like, well, you know, yeah, they can cash at me. Everybody on the call was like, what? We can what? We can what? He was like, yeah, well, you know, they could just call me. Tell them that they could just call me and we can figure out something. Ain't nobody gonna call you and figure out nothing. We're talking about a family reunion with 60 people. He's about to come up, right? He's about to make some money. He had no money in process, no way to sell us, no way to collect the money. And guess how many people got t-shirts from him? Guess. I'm gonna call you out. Put it in the chat. If you got a good guess, tell me how many people you think actually got a t-shirt from him. It's not 0, so you can put that in there. But I'm gonna have y'all guess. And that's just a clear example. And this is family. We love him. It's family. He had no way to collect money from us. It was not going to be a frictionless process. He didn't know what to do. 60 t-shirts he could have sold, and the opportunity was there in his face, given. And he didn't have a way to collect that money. So that money in process is critical, all right? The second process I want you guys to make sure that you have spelled out and you know exactly what to do with it is your sales process. So when I say your sales process, I mean everything related to when you get that marketing, when someone comes in as a lead into your business. Once they're a lead, what does it look like? What are the steps going to be that you are going to take them through for them to ultimately be able to become a customer? All right, so Kendra guessed 0, right? Simon guessed 10, Teresa guessed 1, Robert guessed 0, Kendra guessed 1. Teresa said opportunity loss. Absolutely. He sold 2 t-shirts, y'all. 2. I didn't buy my t-shirt from him. My shirt wasn't. I was like, I'll make my own t-shirt before I'm gonna cash app you. I ain't no guarantee that I can even do that, right? So Absolutely. Money in process, critical. And my cousin, I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, I felt so bad, but I didn't have time to help him set all that stuff up in the end. But that sales process is the next step. So let me give you an example. As a coach or a consultant, I know I have a lot of coaches and consultants out there that watch as a product-based business or e-commerce, or even as an online digital product-based business. You have to have a very concrete sales process in place. So let me give you an example. And I've already done a video on consulting sales process. This is very similar even for service-based businesses. If you're providing a service to a client, you know, if you're a hairstylist, your service, a plumber, anything like that, you want to make sure that you have a sales process in place, and you want to sit down and spell out what those steps are going to look like. And the reason why really documenting all of the steps in your process is important up front is because when you do that, and I'm going to really summarize this as we get to the end, when you do that, it helps you figure out what assets you need in each of those steps. All right. So if I know that my first step in my sales process is to schedule a strategy call with someone, the first step is to schedule a strategy call. That's the first step in my consulting process. That if the first step is to schedule the strategy call, I know in order to do that, I need scheduling software. I need a calendar and I need scheduling software. So I'm able to write down scheduling, right, as the first step. That means I need to find scheduling software. When you take the time to map out each step, just take a brief moment, sit down with a piece of paper. I've already done a couple of videos on exactly how to map out and how to create your SOPs. I actually have a guide to creating the SOP, which is in the description for this video. I'm going to ask Rico to go ahead and plug that into the chat as well. It's the perfect guide to creating SOPs. It'll walk you through how to create the steps, all of the assets, all of that stuff. Because once you map out each step, right? First step, strategy call. Second step, send a thank you. Send a thank you post-strategy call. Third step, create the proposal. Fourth step, send the proposal. Fifth step, follow up on the proposal. Sixth step, if still no response, follow up on the proposal, right? So I'm doing all of that. I'm creating all of those steps. As I have those steps, the next thing that I'm going to have next to it is, what are the assets that I need in order to do that step? Now I've got a list of emails that I might need to create, or software that I might need to purchase, or documents and forms that I might need to create. So I know that if I've got to have a strategy call, I need calendar software, scheduling it. The next step in mine is to conduct the strategy call. So that means I need to have a strategy call questionnaire, right? I need to have questions to discuss during the strategy call. I need to have kind of an outline of what the strategy call looks like. So now I need to create what that strategy call outline is going to be, right? So now I'm creating all of the assets to go along with each of those steps. And then ultimately, at the end, I've got an entire step-by-step process, and I've got all of the assets that go along with that step-by-step process, all right? And I've got lots of videos on each of those things. So for instance, and I want you guys to make sure if you've got specific questions about your own personal sales process with your business, I want you to put them in there for me, because I could give you a very specific process on any number of industries and any number of businesses, but I want to do that if it doesn't apply to you specifically. I primarily, from a sales process perspective, have them mapped out for coaches, for consultants, for service-based businesses, for nonprofit organizations who are actively fundraising, for e-commerce, product-based businesses, for course creators and online sales, membership-based businesses who are selling memberships. Those types of businesses, I've got like sales processes for. So I can help, with those types of things as well. But that sales process is something that you really want to take the time to sit and figure out as the CEO of your organization. You really do. Because if you don't, and you are winging it, you will have a very, very difficult time closing people. And if your close ratios are very low, it will require a high volume of leads in order to reach the sales volume that you need to make any money. You ever heard the old adage that sales is a numbers game? If you heard that, then you know it's a numbers game. And the key to making a lot of money is not necessarily having a lot of sales, it's having a lot of closes. It's having a high close ratio. Because if you have 100 leads, but you can close 50% of them, you're going to make more money than if you have 100 leads and you only close 5% of them. So if you've got a concrete, perfected, good sales process, you can increase your close ratio and you don't have to increase the leads. And that is critical because prospecting, marketing, bringing leads into your business is the most difficult piece of sales, hands down. Any good salesperson, if you've ever been in sales, they will all tell you the same thing. They will say the hardest part is prospecting. And trust me, I have done all kinds of prospecting. I'm an old school salesperson, y'all. I have knocked on doors. I have trudged through the snow in my boots, 9 months pregnant, asking people if I can come into their business and sell them something. Before social media, when we used to go to the library and get a leads list and pull out the yellow pages and just start dialing. We used to call it dialing for dollars. And I used to knock on doors with a script. I had 65 salespeople in cubicles, and we used to be overcall, and then laws came into place, and you couldn't just call people like that no more. So we had to switch it up. This is before digital marketing, before social media. So the hardest part is getting the leads. Once you get the leads, if you can close more of them, you are golden. Trust me. And the only way that you can do that is to perfect each step in your sales process to increase that close ratio. All right. And I want to be clear because this is what's so important, right? If you've got a good sales process that's documented and that you have clearly spelled out that you know you can go through, make it efficient and perfect it, and you can figure out which pieces of that sales process are working and are not working, then you are going to be golden. Because in 2019, American Express did a survey. And that survey showed that 85% of consumers said that they will abandon an online purchase because the process wasn't easy. People are telling you, if you don't make my sales process frictionless and easy for me, I'm out. I'm out. You know, and I know. If you're online and you're purchasing and you click a button and it doesn't, the welcome page doesn't pop up, or if it's slow, or if it says, oh, I'm sorry, error, try again, or it keeps making you do stuff, you're out. That's why I even added PayPal to keep it real with you. Because if people are shopping from their phone, PayPal stores their credit cards, it's that kind of stuff in it. I'm the perfect example. I don't walk around my house with my wallet on me. I'm a woman, right? And we actually do more shopping than men, y'all, for real. I don't have a wallet in my back pocket. Most of our clothes don't even have pockets in them, okay? So if I'm sitting on my couch and I'm shopping on my phone and it doesn't have PayPal, so I can click it, which connects to my credit card or my bank account, and it actually asks me to pull out my credit card, I'm gonna leave that page. I'm not even lying. If I got to go to my purse and get up off my couch and go pull out a credit card and start typing it in, I better really, really, really want that item in order to make me get up off my couch. If it doesn't have PayPal as an option, I'm probably not going to buy it. That's how frictionless I want my process to be. And that's exactly what you have to think about when you start putting together your sales process. Okay. That is why it's so important for you to map that out. All right. So let me look and see what questions you have with regards to your sales process. Go ahead and put those in. I did get a couple of questions and I want to make sure I check them. See if it's sales process related. I got a ton about the onboarding process, which is what I'm getting ready to go to. And delegation. I didn't get sales process stuff. So let me take a look at what you guys have. Let's see. You're getting old, CP. Teresa's in there. Rico, did you call me old? Oh, wow. Oh, Simon, awesome. I can't wait to see you in there. Simon. Okay, I have a digital marketing agency. Oh, okay. Digital marketing agency, Simon. All right, so you are going to be doing consulting for sure. So sales process system. So Simon, let me ask you, is your average service going to be pretty cookie cutter? Are you going to be doing specific packages that you can just have somebody click a button and buy, or are they going to be more custom types of services? Do you feel like they're going to be higher ticket? Like when I say higher ticket, I mean over $2,000. And the reason why I say that, guys, any of you out there, if you think that what you're going to be selling is going to cost more than $2,000 for your average customer, then I have a very specific sales process. If it is less than $2,000, it can be completely automated. It can be completely online. You don't necessarily have to talk to that person. You can literally set it up where it can happen completely online behind the scenes, and you don't have to talk to someone. But if it's over $2,000, then I recommend a face-to-face. I recommend a strategy call. So Simon, let me know in the comments if it's over $2,000. Yes, Kendra, I know I got my phone more than my purse too. I do. All right. So while Simon puts that in there, I want to go and talk about this next step in the processes that you guys have to think about. And this one is really critical. So we talked about money in, very important process. We talked about your sales process, right? You got to map that out. Figure it out. I don't want to miss Simon's response because I got a good one for you, Simon. And it's actually for all consultants. If any of you are consultants or even coaches or even service providers, if what you're doing costs over $2,000, I got a process for you, a sales process. All right. So the next process that you guys want to make sure you're mapping out is your onboarding process. It's your service process. I cannot tell you how many people miss this one. And onboarding is critical. My onboarding process is probably one that I spend more time on than any of the processes in my service piece. And when I say my service piece, service, I believe, starts from the moment after a customer is enrolled, is paid. Once a customer provides you with their payment, so they contract, if you have a contract-based service and they contract with you and they are, okay, Simon, so yes, your clients are in the over $2,000. Okay, digital marketing, web design. Okay, perfect. So here's your sales process, Simon, and all consultants out there, sales process over $2,000. Step number one, you are going to want them to schedule a strategy call with you, a discovery call, strategy call, discovery call. When you're over $2,000, you have got to make your sales pitch very needs-based. You have got to find out exactly what their needs are. It is needs-based consultative selling. And that means that you have got to show them that you understand what their needs and pain points and challenges are, and that you ultimately can provide them with the solution in order to help them reach that level of transformation that they want to experience. And the only way that you can do that is by having a conversation. So the very first step is a discovery call. The goal in that discovery call is for you to listen more than you talk. If you listen, they will tell you everything that you need to know in order to sell them. It is not a sales call. It is not a, let me tell you everything that I can do for you, and this is all the stuff that I can do. It is, let me ask you a series of questions so that you can tell me what you've been experiencing, what you need, what makes you lose sleep at night. What are you truly looking for in your digital marketing goals and what is it that you want to accomplish in your business, because it's going to be B2B for you. What is it that you want to accomplish in your business that's going to get you to that next level? And you're going to ask them questions. You're going to use that document, that discovery call questionnaire, to ask them that question. Once you have the discovery call, during that, you're going to say, look, I think you have given me an amazing amount of information, and I really do think that I'm going to be able to help you. And here's why. You've mentioned this, this, and this is exactly what we do. Based upon this, our organization is going to be able to help you take all of this off of your plate. So you're going to talk to them on that call, not about the features of what you can present, but about the benefits of what working with you will do for them. And you're going to say, so what I'm going to do is put together a more detailed proposal for you. And I'm going to shoot that over to you. And you're going to give yourself a realistic timeline. I usually say 3 to 5 business days. And you're going to put together a detailed proposal, really discussing their needs with specific pricing, and you're going to send that proposal over to them. So this is that sales process: discovery call, proposal creation, sending them the proposal. Dubsado is going to be amazing for you in this instance, Simon. Send that proposal. They're going to accept that proposal. Now from the proposal, you've got to make sure you've got follow-ups in there, because they're not going to sign right away, right? The average person tells you that you're going to get 4 no's before you get a yes. That's for everyone's sales process, right? 4 no's before you get a yes. So you got to make sure that you've got follow-ups in that sales process, checking in 4 times, all right? No matter how good you are. Send them the proposal. You're going to follow up probably 3 to 4 times. They're going to say, yes, I accept it. Once they accept the proposal, you create your service agreement with the specifics of the timelines, the specifics of the cost, the specifics of how you're going to get your money. You're going to send them over the service agreement. They're going to sign the service agreement. And then you're going to issue your first invoice. You're going to send them the first invoice. They're going to send you that initial deposit, right? When they send you, you're going to send them the invoice. They're going to send you that initial deposit, and boom, you're done with your sales process. And now we're moving on to what I'm talking about now, which is that onboarding and service process. Okay. So those are going to be the steps in that sales process that I recommend for everybody on this call that is a consultant, a service provider, a coach, or anybody that's selling something to someone that is valued at over $2,000. That's going to cost more than $2,000. You gotta have a discovery call. You got to do needs-based selling when it's over $2,000. Okay. If it's less than $2,000, it can be completely automated. It can be a different sales process, right? So now we're on onboarding. Onboarding has to happen immediately once someone signs the contract. You cannot, once someone gives you the money, you cannot just let them sit there. That is not the end. That's the beginning, because there is a very high chance that they will ask for a refund or cancel if nothing happens once they give you their money. That is when the clock starts ticking. And customer service is very important. That's when customer service begins, okay? 78% of customers out there have backed out of purchase due to poor customer service experience. It takes 12 positive customer service experiences to make up for 1 negative experience. And 60% of customers will tell you, 70% of B2B decision makers will tell you that they will only buy when they see that the salesperson is legit and trusted as an advisor and will deliver the service that they expect immediately. And that means that you have to have a good onboarding and customer service process ready to go immediately. So soon as someone signs that contract, for me, the first thing that they get is a thank you very much. Your contract has been submitted. These are the next steps. And I spell out to them, this is step 1, this is step 2. They get access to their customer portal. They receive an immediate onboarding calendar schedule that allows them to plug themselves into my calendar for us to have our onboarding call. And then they begin receiving discovery call questionnaires immediately. Onboarding call questionnaires for me to begin to have a conversation around gathering the information that I need to prepare for our onboarding call. And I break those up. So typically, the onboarding call, they can't schedule it for at least 7 days after they sign the contract. And I space out, and Dubsado will do all of this for you guys. It will do all of it for you. It will literally space it out for workflows automatically. So I don't send these out manually at all. As soon as someone signs the contract, Dubsado triggers. Within 2 hours after the contract is signed, they receive the first email. So their onboarding begins immediately. It will remind them if they don't schedule the onboarding, but as soon as they do, day 2, they get an email that says, awesome, glad you're scheduled. Please complete this, service project details questionnaire, and it asks a bunch of questions. And then 2 days later, it says, just so that I'm prepared for our call, here's some detailed information that I need so that I'm prepared to prepare our timeline. And so that when we get on our call, we're maximizing our time. So it sends them various things. And it really depends upon your service that you're doing, but you can create so many different things that over the course of every 2 days, up until that onboarding call that you have with them, whether it's you or one member of your team, when you get to that point, that onboarding experience, that it will keep them in the loop and they'll feel like they're already getting service delivered to them, within that first 7 days as you prepare. And that onboarding experience is very similar to a customer as it would be to a new employee, to a new hire. Think about that. If you've ever worked for anybody, if you've ever started as a new employee for any company, that first week or two really dictates how you feel about where you work, right? If you start working somewhere and you go to orientation and they sit you in a conference room, they talk to you for a few hours, and they go put you in your cubicle and nobody says anything to you for like the first 2 weeks, how do you feel about where you work? You don't like it. It sets the stage. It sets the stage for how you're treated. It sets the stage for how you feel like you need to treat them. And it sets the stage for their credibility and their professionalism and just generally how you feel about where you're working. Statistics will tell you that if an employee has that experience during onboarding, they will 9 times out of 10 not even take their resume down. They're still looking for a job, right? Same thing about your customer experience. So map out the detailed step-by-step. Again, grab that process guide to that link that Rico put in the comments for you. Grab that process guide. Map out step by step exactly what you want your onboarding process to look like for your new customer. And then you also want to do the exact same thing with your true service delivery. Exactly what services you're delivering. Exactly what services you're delivering. And I'm saying that because depending upon what package you're giving them, depending upon what you're doing, you got to deliver and really deliver on those. And that's why I tell everybody, when you're an entrepreneur and you have 50 different products and services you're delivering, you're going to be overwhelmed because it's really hard to create processes when you've got 50 different things. Every single product or service that you offer or that you sell requires its own sales process, its own money in process, its own onboarding process, and its own service process. It requires its own everything. So if you're starting your business and you've got 5 services or 5 products that you're trying to start selling at the exact same time, and every single one of them requires 5 different processes, you have to map out 25 processes all in the very beginning as a brand new entrepreneur. 25. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No exceptions. No half-assing it. So when I tell you, if you're an SUAer, if you're in my Startup Academy, or if you are a coachee of mine, that is why I tell you to slow your roll. Pick one. Pick one. Perfect it. Maximize it. Increase the efficiency of the one processes. Maximize your profits in that one product or service, then move on to the next one. Do the same exact thing in that one, then move on to the next one. I'm not telling you to forget that next idea. I'm telling you to write it down, put it in your idea bank as a future product or service. Do not make the mistake that I made so many times, because every single product or service that you offer requires its own money in, sales, onboarding, and service process. You have got to map all of those out in order to really become efficient. And all of those things have to be mapped out so that you know what systems you need and what forms you need and what processes and what products and what everything you need. And ultimately, You have to know them in and out before you can hire anybody else to do any of those other steps. You won't even know who you need to hire. You won't even know what employee you need until you've mapped out all of those processes, okay? You won't even know. So let me take a look at questions because I'm getting into this. I'm getting into this one, y'all. Let me take a look real quick to see. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Okay, I got to the numbers. Let's see. Kendra, I need to focus on one strategy at a time. I'm all over the place, trying to learn everything all at once. Yes, my love, bingo. Yes, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. One product or service at a time, just one. Pick one, pick the best one. Write down all your processes for that one. Sell it, make the most money you can. Sell it, perfect the processes until you can do it in your sleep, until it's a well-oiled machine. Then, once it is, and you are ready to hire someone else to do it for you, then move on to the next product or service. And it might be a year. It's okay. It's okay because you're making money off that one. Do one at a time. It's very overwhelming if you don't do it that way. All right, Simon. My clients are in the over $2,000. Okay, yep. Hi. Hey, C. Let's see. I'm a service consultant. I help small business win contracts with the government. What system do you recommend? The wealth building platform. You are a consultant. I still think Dubsado is the best system to manage all of your clients. It does everything. I mean, everything. I love it. I love it. HoneyBook. Some people ask me about HoneyBook. It's also really good. I did investigate. I had Dubsado before HoneyBook even came out, and I like it. It's not broke, and it does everything. Workflows. I just love it. I love it. It's my CRM. It does my proposals. It does my contracts. It does my calendaring. It does everything. My invoices, everything. Will Dubsado work with selling products? You know, that's a good question. You mean like e-commerce? You know, like a Shopify store, Kendra? Is that what you mean? Like e-commerce? I mean, it could, but I think that there's a different system that might work better. If that's what you mean, let me know. Simon, awesome. Well, Dubsado, let me know if that's what you mean. But let me take a look, because I did get another question that I want to make sure I answer. This is Choose Outside. This was from IG. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm not clear on what the onboarding process is. Can you explain? Is it presented after the service contract signing, but before you actually train them? Thank you for any further explanation. Yes, Choose Outside. If you are watching, that is exactly what it is. Hopefully my explanation just now helped out with that. The onboarding process is exactly that. It is the process that will transition your client from the sales and contract service agreement phase into the service delivery phase. So it's kind of like, you know, that onboarding piece. Whatever your service delivery is, it kind of gets them into the mix. And it's that time frame in between. For me, the onboarding process for most of my consulting clients is about a week to a week and a half. It just depends upon when they schedule the onboarding call. For my coaching clients, it's typically about the same. For one-on-one coaching clients, it's about a week to a week and a half. So yes. I also got a question from Shalonda Swanson from IG. And if you guys don't follow me on IG, please make sure you do at Cheryl C. Perez. So you can also send me stuff there. You can DM me. You have so much energy. Thank you. Thank you very much. It excites me. Thank you for sharing. I had an intern that I lost because I was not organized and couldn't properly delegate. How do I better prepare next time? Girl, Shalonda, I feel you. Yes, typically, if you can't properly delegate, it is because you aren't quite sure what the processes are, or you haven't documented them well enough to be able to know which steps you want to delegate. And that's what I'm talking about right here. It is so critical for you to know what the steps in the process are and have them written down and documented, even if they are swimming around in your head. Now, everybody in this, if you are the CEO of your organization, you know the processes. You've created them. You've created your business, so you know them. But you've got to document them and be able to visually see them in order to know which one of those steps can be delegated, if any. Once you can see them and you know what assets you need, you can also determine, and when you grab that guide that Rico links to, that free one for you, when you grab it, you'll be able to see who should be responsible for each of those steps. And there is a whole column that says who's responsible. And then there's a whole column that says how much time should this step take. And it not only helps you determine if there's an administrative assistant who's responsible, if there's a salesperson who's responsible, or whoever's responsible for that, it also helps you determine how much time that step should take for that person to do. And once you've mapped all of that out, you've already started to build out your team. So that's how you know what to delegate. You can't hire anybody until you've mapped that out. Once you have, you can see who you need on your team, what technology you need, what people you need, then you can hire. And once you hire them, you'll be able to literally fill out their job description with exactly what duties you want them to do. And when they start, you'll be able to sit down and tell them, these are all the duties that I need you to do. And here's the process that I need you to do it with. Here's the system that I need you to work in. And you can ultimately say, this is what system I need you to know before you even hire them. So it allows you to make more concrete, more definitive, and better hiring decisions as well. So SOPs work for so many different reasons: for you, for your customer, for your experience, for your profits, for delegation, and for hiring. They are critical in your business journey. That's how you get to 7 figures. That's why I said in the beginning of this, if you don't start documenting your SOPs, you'll never make it there. Trust me. You will sit where you are, kind of churning and churning and churning, but you'll never get to the $1 million mark if you don't have SOPs. And hi, Sai. Great discussion. As entrepreneurs, we should always be preparing to collaborate with an open experimental mindset. That business next level opportunity could come with little to no warning. With that being said, how do we stay prepared with so many other things to think about? Great question. Hi, Sai, came to me on IG. Yeah, you're right. That next level opportunity could come with little to no warning. That major sales contract, that big order for products, everything could come out of the blue. And I would tell you that you got to have the processes ready to go. You have to have the processes, because if not, you won't have the capacity to be prepared for that large opportunity. And I'm a perfect example of that. You know, when I had my HR, my insurance agency, perfect example. We were so process oriented. I mean, we had an operations manual for everything. And I mean, we did. And so we got a case, one of the largest groups that we had ever gotten, because we did large group, we did employee benefits. And we got a group that had, was it like 15,000 employees? And we only had 90 days to enroll all 15,000 employees. Had we not had the processes, that opportunity would have been gone. They had very high expectations. We had 15,000 employees in 48 states across the country that we had to get enrolled in their benefits package and plan in 90 days. If we didn't have the processes, we would have never benefited from that opportunity. And we killed it. We wrote so much damn insurance business in that 90 days, y'all. We made so much money. Just salivating thinking about that. I can't even tell you how wonderful that was. I thank the Lord I'm process oriented at that. I just smile thinking about that. I mean, I've since sold that agency, and that's probably part of the reason why I was able to sell it, because that opportunity was so amazing. So absolutely, that is how. Document your processes, keep track of them, consistently work towards perfecting them, and you will be ready for every single opportunity. All right, and let me take a look. Oh, Kendra, okay, yes. So e-commerce products. So Dubsado is, I would say no. I would say you could do it. You could probably manipulate the system to work for e-commerce, but I don't like it for e-commerce products. I honestly, Kendra, my favorite system for e-commerce, I mean, I know there's a lot, but I like Shopify. For my coachees that are doing e-commerce, I like Shopify. I really do think that Shopify is an amazing e-commerce platform. It's kind of a one-stop shop. It integrates with so many other tools that allows you to do so many things. I love the ease of use, especially when it comes to shipping, and the fact that it can be its own website for you. And as you continue to grow and build your organization and your business, it will integrate with WordPress. It'll integrate with your website, but it can be its own website, and the ease of shipping and the labels and all of the apps that it integrates with. I love it. It also has the automations that it can do in there. So, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of places that have tried to come out with, e-commerce types of solutions that, try to compete with Shopify. And I try to stay abreast of them just from a coaching perspective. And I have yet to really find one that I think can beat it just yet. But I'm sure that there will probably be one. But, right now, and there may be one that, I'm missing right now. But I would still tell you, even if there was, Shopify is still in the top 3. Dubsado is not going to even come close to what Shopify can do for an e-commerce platform for you. Between the carts, between the discounts, the coupons, the automatic tax, the automatic shipping calculations with zip code recognition, it's not going to even touch it. So I would say stay on type. Yes, Shopify does deal with WordPress. It plays very, very nice with WordPress. It does. Yes. All right, guys. So there you have it. We dove deep into processes. Those are the ones that you need to build, the basic ones. Now, again, like I said in the very beginning, there are so many more that you are going to get into in your business. I've got processes for creating YouTube videos and, having staff meetings and, anything and everything you can think of from an operational perspective in my business, but those are not the basics. If you are an entrepreneur and you are in your journey and you are still trying to cross over into that 7-figure mark, those are the basic ones that I want you to focus on. I'm not trying to have you chase shiny balls. Once you've gotten those documented, you will be on the right path to start diving into some other ones. And as always, you will be driving yourself and building and growing that business so that you can get to that entrepreneurial level of freedom that you so much deserve and desire. I love you guys. I love these live coaching sessions. And I know I promised you that I will do another one on marketing specifically. Like I said in the very beginning, next week, I'm taking off for the holiday. I am tired. I am pooped. I'm wiped out. And I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of playing with some YouTube shorts over the next couple of weeks. So make sure that you are checking those out and you're letting me know what you think of them. I'm going to be using and tapping into the YouTube shorts, some IG reels, and also some TikToks and testing those out. But I will be back the week after next, and I will do one more live coaching session. We will be focusing on marketing in your business. So make sure that you tune in live for that coaching session. I believe that is like July 12th, something like that. So be on the lookout for that. I will make sure that you guys get the information. Tune in live. We're going to talk all things marketing in your business for 2022. I'll be answering your questions. You can send them to me in advance if you want to, through help@CherylCPerez.com or on IG or on Facebook or anywhere on social that you follow me. You can send them to me in advance or you can tune in live and I'll answer. It has been amazing. I love you guys so much. Until next time, my loves, I will see you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. Again, bye-bye. Mwah!